It is Thursday, November the 14th.
Almost halfway through November. Thanksgiving will be just a couple of weeks away.
Boy, it's the year's end is upon us, man. Scary,
and we're
scary.
2 weeks out from 2 Thursdays out from the election results. And
Actually, only one Thursday.
is it?
Yeah.
Is it one Thursday? Isn't today our second Thursday?
Well, it says Tuesday. We're 9 days removed.
Okay, so we're 9 days.
So whatever that means.
Whatever many Thursdays that is. So we're out from that, and we're having interesting questions from a lot of folks, from callers on our radio and sending us. Okay, we have a president, a Republican Republican Senate, and as of today, it looked like it is going to be a Republican House. What do we do? What do we buy? What do we change?
We talked a little bit about this last week, about all the phone calls that we got when the market was up. It was just about as many as we get when the market's down big, and that answer is nothing really.
And the reason it's nothing is because the majority of all our clients, you out there listening to us, you're already invested in the market at the percent we're comfortable with. Now, for those of our clients that waited till the end of the result of the presidency and you're underweighted in equities, we are trying to get you to move back up in equities.
And we have had I have had a couple clients call and say, I know I'm 50% of the market. I'd like to be 60.
Right.
And that that makes sense. And we did do that. But to go from being 60% of the market to being 80 or 90% of the market is just not something that would be wise to do.
Right. So if you're 50, 60% of the market, we're holding the course. The reason is we had this week I had the opportunity to have a dinner, and the topic of the discussion with the outside resource of ours was to point out within the Trump new administration, there are going to be things that are going to be positive to the marketplace or could potentially not be positive to the marketplace. So what we have to do is we have to see what that balancing act is going to be. We're going to have to see how tariffs, if tariffs are applied, how then the offset of government reduction is going to apply. What's happening in geopolitical events? What's happening in domestic events? What's happening in inflation? What is happening in interest rates?
Because the election changed parties for the Senate, the House was Republican, but definitely the presidency. That from a standpoint of inflation and other things that are going on, debt, all of that is still present and hasn't changed, and the market is overpriced. So we're going to see some kind of pullback. It's just a matter of when.
We've also been talking to the folks that we're working with in the bonds, and we're understanding. We set up a barbell, meaning part of the money is in intermediate, waiting for interest rate reductions. The other part is in still short-term monies. We still think that barbell makes sense, and we need to let it have time to see what the Federal Reserve is going to do.
The bond market, it's being stubborn on the on the long ends of the market. Those intermediate to longer term bonds, even though the Fed has moved rates down 75 basis points, they've been stubborn. They have hung on to the higher rate. So you look at 30-year mortgages, they're over 7% still.
Yes.
And they had dipped into the low sixes, and then they bounced back. So the bond market is not necessarily cooperating, or it's reading something that the rest of us aren't.
So what we are doing, we're looking at all the accounts, we're looking at the holdings. We feel confident with the majority of all our clients or position correctly in equities, and if we need to do house cleaning, we do house cleaning and bring in something a little stronger, a little more dividend oriented. And if we have cash to buy, and that's from a bond side that's matured, we're staying on the short end at this point in time, giving us time to really get to January and after the inauguration and begin to see what happens. But we feel good about where portfolios are, and the numbers are looking good.
Right.
So that's where we are. If you have any questions, give us a phone call. We'd be glad to go over it with you, be glad to meet with you, talk with you. Also, if there's somebody you know that is looking for help in what they're doing, we're meeting new clients all the time, and we would appreciate an introduction. So feel free to do that. If you have any questions, call us again. We do this each and every week because we know it is your money.
And your money matters. Have a great rest of the week and a nice weekend cup coming.
See you next week.